A case study in technical and adaptive challenges, presented by ZilaroAndrews for MHI 554. According to Lopez, problem solving is the essence of what leaders exist to do. That is to say, every day leaders encounter disturbances that have varying impact to their work. Heifetz differentiates these disturbances into two categories: technical challenges and adaptive challenges. Gilbert explains that technical challenges are those which are solvable via current ways of leading, current skills, usual behavior, and established ways of operating. For example, when faced with financial crises, leaders typically look for ways to reduce expenses or increase revenue. If safety or quality concerns arise, most institutions have standard processes for reviewing the causes and mitigating as appropriate. In some instances, leadership may discover operational barriers that need to be removed in order to achieve their goals. Typically, these resolutions can occur without significantly changing how the organization operates. Lubas reminds us that tracking several potentially related variables can offer leadership important information. It is standard practice to utilize operational dashboards and financial reports to monitor performance on an ongoing basis. At my hospital, this monitoring revealed a significant financial issue. We weren't meeting our margin target. Looking to key performance measures such as volume, revenue, expense, and operational efficiency, leadership attempted to diagnose the issue behind this financial deficit. This root cause analysis revealed a multitude of possible drivers related to the decreasing margin. For example, dips in volume, which is a driver of revenue, coincided with several major snowstorms that had prevented patients from getting to the hospital for their appointments and elective surgeries. Compromised throughput related to the implementation of a new electronic health record resulted in longer lengths of stay, which decreased the hospital's ability to admit new patients. In addition, late inpatient discharges were contributing to a significant backlog of admitted patients in the emergency department, causing some patients in the waiting room to leave before being seen by a clinician. Metrics such as volume by service, appointment lag times, hospital occupancy, and other financial data provided hospital leadership with the context necessary to formulate a comprehensive response to the financial crisis. Once these causes had been identified, the hospital assessed a series of possible responses within the context of these two important questions. The first, what aspects of the organization are critical to success? And next, what expenses are most and least profitable? The logical technical response to this particular financial crisis would be to increase revenue by introducing new patients into the system. Leadership agreed to a strategy that involved targeting volume within certain revenue-generating populations, in this case, surgical patients, decreasing inpatient length of stay to allow the hospital to see more patients without increasing resources, and increasing the ED's ability to accept transfer patients from other hospitals. If successful, these strategies should increase revenue. However, the proposed plan challenged the current operations of the hospital, raising alarm within impacted departments, leaving administrators and clinicians to ponder how to implement these strategies without causing significant operational and safety crises. In the emergency department, my team and I were asked to accept 100% of appropriate transfers. To understand whether this challenge is technical or adaptive, we must review our vision, mission, and values. Our mission and vision in the ED is to treat all patients requiring care. However, our culture and process is to triage and care for the sickest patients first, ensuring that our doors remain open to patients requiring emergent care. As such, we are constantly operating in what Heifetz refers to as a productive zone of disturbance of discomfort. In fact, the ability to decline certain transfers is truly the only lever we have at our disposal to address overcrowding. Though turning down any patient is not ideal, from the perspective of the emergency department, the needs of these patients that are already under the care of clinicians at another hospital do not necessarily outweigh the needs of patients in our own waiting room. While the request to accept all transfers regardless of their acuity is aligned with our vision and mission, it fundamentally opposes our core value to treat the sickest patients first. Therefore, accepting 100% of transfers can be considered an adaptive challenge. Heifetz and Laurie advise that adaptive work is required when our deeply held beliefs are challenged, when the values that made us successful become less relevant, and when legitimate yet competing perspectives emerge. To address these challenges, They recommend leaders acknowledge and validate all conflicting perspectives and propose incremental modifications that fit within a tolerable range. In our department, we began by reviewing measures to quantify concerns and identify potential barriers to reaching our goal. A critical first step was knowing what types of transfers we were declining and how those coincided with ED census trends. Since the hospital was targeting certain profitable patients, this information helped us to quantify the volume impact of accepting those patients in the future. Not surprisingly, we also discovered a correlation between times of the highest declines and extreme census in both the ED and the hospital at large. Without the ability to limit patients coming into the department, we knew that we needed strategies to flex capacity or move patients out of the department more efficiently. To do this, we first had to understand our staffing levels and space constraints. Finally, in order to ensure that any adaptive work was within tolerable limits, we looked to measures such as percent of patients who left without being seen or the waiting room census and wait times to ensure that accepting all transfers wouldn't cause negative consequences elsewhere. Relying on these important balance measures to avoid bad situations will ultimately contribute to an increased sense of buy-in for our refined vision and goals. By their very nature, adaptive challenges take time to resolve. Although we are on the journey, we haven't quite reached our destination yet. We are still limited by our ability to flex our capacity in real time without the lever of turning away transfers. We are also in negotiations with other services who disagree with our department's strategy for triaging patients. Reviewing the data helped leadership understand the big picture problem and identify the specific drivers of the deficit. It also helped frame some possible solutions. Within our department, the measures helped us to assess the feasibility of achieving our outcome measure and validated the existence of the internal conflicts that we face. We are confident that continual assessment of balance measures will ensure that we maintain a safe environment for patients within our department while we strive to meet the hospital goals. Thank you.